Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It is I, the Reluctant Gringo, back with another reaction video. And this one I had to take a day or two to really kind of consider my thoughts on the matter. Now, I know a lot of you have already seen the articles about Bob Iger and what he said about tamping down the culture wars and all that. We'll get into that in a second. But I really needed to take a moment and really kind of understand how I felt about this before getting into it. But here's the article right here. Disney to quiet the noise in culture wars amid Ron DeSantis feud. Now, this is coming from the New York Post, and it's been other areas of media and social media that he said this to investors. But really what's interesting to me is the bottom of the article where it says, Bob Iger says, our primary mission needs to be to entertain, to have a positive impact on the world. And I'm very serious about that. It should not be agenda driven. And I guess we're all supposed to really breathe a huge sigh of relief that Disney's finally come around. That Disney's finally said, you know what, this woke stuff, it's not really working. It's not really what the people want. But I really thought about it and I said to myself, no, that's not what this is. I'm not stupid and neither are you. I'm not gullible and neither are you. I'm not an idiot and neither are you. This is only to save Bob Iger's ass because he's got investors crawling up and down him. He's got investors that are threatening to walk away. He's losing billions of dollars. He's the biggest failure of a CEO in recent memory. I mean, Disney, one of the greatest brands ever, is falling apart in his hands. So he's got to do something, say something to hopefully save himself. And that's all this is. This is just ego driven. Because really how I feel about Disney and I feel about the fans and feel about myself in the middle of it all, it's nothing more. Bob Iger is just an abuser. Disney's are abusers. It's a toxic relationship and the fans are the victims. And if you don't believe me, let's look at some of the red flags that you are in an abusive relationship. There's verbal abuse, there's harassment in public, there's gaslighting, there's victim blaming. Don't think you've heard any of that over the last 2 or 3 years? Well, let me remind you. When Obi-Wan Kenobi came out and everybody said, well, we really don't like Moses Ingram's performance because it's really poorly written, it's poorly acted, it really doesn't make any sense. Did they accept that criticism? No, they called you a racist. When you didn't go to Strange World or go see Lightyear, did they say, well, we just made a bad product no one wanted to see? No, you were a homophobe for not wanting to see it. When you don't want to go see Snow White, the remake, because you're a fan of the 1937 original and you think that's just okay, you know what you are? You're outdated. You're weird, and you're a misogynist, and you need to just go away. Just give us your money and go away. Shut up. You don't like the live action remakes because of the gender swapping, the race swapping, the major changes to the storyline for modern audiences? It's because you're a monster and you're no better than Hitler. Don't believe me? Because you've been called all of those things. I've been called all of those things as a fan over the last 2 or 3 years. So you don't think you've been gaslit, victim shamed, blamed in public, verbally abused? Yes, you have. Guess what? Sorry to say, you're in an abusive relationship, and the people doing the abusing are Bob Iger and his whole merry band down there at Disney. Still don't believe me? Let's take a look at what Kathleen Kennedy had to say a few months ago when talking about fans. She called us loud, unappreciative. She called us entitled and opinionated. And she said we just need to be ignored and filtered out. Because it is her and her people who will decide the fate of Star Wars, not the fans. The fans don't matter. It's her and her ego. You don't matter. The fans don't matter. It's what she wants. Now that may sound a lot harsh. Some of you may think maybe I'm overstepping my bounds and being a little too critical. Maybe I'm being a little too blunt. And you know what? I've grown older and wiser, and I know some of you out there that are maybe watching or listening or hearing the same type of criticisms from fans like me think, you know what? We owe you an apology for being so harsh and so critical. And I can be the bigger man. I can see both sides of the argument. So let me just give it a try. If you feel like I owe you an apology, if you think us fans owe you an apology, well, here it is. I am sorry. I am sorry that the only thing more fragile than your stupid ego are the woke sensibilities of the creators and writers that you surround yourself with. How's that for an apology? But hey, guess what? We have nothing left to fight about because Bob Iger has seen the light. He's seen the error of his ways. It's going to be entertainment for entertaining's sake. And I don't believe a word of it. Neither should any of you out there. You shouldn't believe a word of it. It's what abusers do. They make you think they've changed their ways. They've seen their errors. It'll be okay. And then boom, the next crisis hits. And you find yourself back in the same cycle. And besides, what is there to come back to? Seriously, what is there to come back to? Should we even care about this anymore? Is there anything left for us to care about anymore? I mean, Star Wars is destroyed. Indiana Jones is dead. Marvel is a wreck. Pixar is in ashes. The theme parks are just a mess. The live action remakes, what they've done to the Disney originals, is nothing less than tragic. So what's there left to come back to? What are Kevin Feige and Dave Filoni and Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger really offering us but a steaming pile of broken shit? And that's not a bed I want to sleep on anymore. You know why? Because fans like me have awoken and said, you know what? We're better than this. We deserve better than this. We've given better than this. We need a partner. We need a place that makes us feel welcome and good and understands who we are and doesn't try to change us for the better, because there is no better. We're just as good as anything else out there, and we're all right, and we're going to stay all right, and we're not going to allow these abusers to continue to mash down on us and try to make us feel shame and make us feel guilt because we don't like what they're doing. No. We're better than that. We deserve better than that. And that's why we cancel Disney Plus. That's why we don't go see the movies. That's why we don't buy the books, the comics, the toys, the merch. That's why that the stock is at an all-time low. That's why Disney and Bob Iger are coming out and making statements like this. It's not because they care about us. It's because they only care about themselves and their own wallet. So don't fall for it. So all the people out there watching this video and listening, you're strong, just like I am, to walk away and find something better because you deserve better. If you like what you heard, or if you don't like what you heard, I'd appreciate you dropping me a comment. I love a good debate. I love a good conversation. It's what makes the world go round. If you enjoyed the video, I'd also appreciate it if you leave a like and maybe even subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. This channel's less than a month old and just getting started, having a lot of fun. Really helps the channel grow. Again, I appreciate every single one of you that sits there and listens and watches. It really means a lot to me. And from south of the border, as always, I am your reluctant gringo. Salute and a huevo.